one day it will happen. If you sign that personal guarantee, one day something will happen. Look, no one saw a pandemic, a worldwide pandemic. If you said to people 5 years ago, there's going to be this worldwide pandemic and you can't leave your house except for 2 hours a day, and there's going to be a toilet roll shortage, and it's just going to go crazy, not just here, but in the entire world. We go, come on, what are the chances of that happening? And it did. When I show people how to buy a business without using any of their own money, I sometimes shortcut the explanation by saying no money down. The misunderstanding that people have is that they think that the seller gets no money on day one. That's what they think. They think, oh, no money down. The seller doesn't get any money on day one. No, the seller gets exactly what has been agreed on day one, but we're not going to put any of our own money down. Number one golden rule is you do not put your own personal money into the deal. If you've been building up a nest egg, if you've been putting aside money for the children's university fees, you've got a savings account. It might be tempting, especially if you are entrepreneurial, to say, I'm going to raid the savings account, I'm going to buy the business, it's going to make a fortune, I can just put the money back in. Resist that temptation, because I would say to you, what if it doesn't? You do not want to risk your own personal cash when you're doing this. We can come up with cleverer and smarter ways to buy the business that does not involve any of your own money. So why do we prefer not to use our own money? Well, the answer is fairly obvious. It means that if we're just going to use our own money, first of all, there's always a degree of risk. We get that. You don't want to lose it. But secondly, if we're going to use our own money and we're going to go and buy businesses, at some point we're going to run out. I don't care how wealthy you are, if you keep on writing checks to buy businesses, at some point you won't have any more money to write checks on. So we need to do it in a smarter way. So the top ways of eliminating risk. The top way is getting your corporate structure right. So you never buy a business in your own name. You never buy a business using your existing trading company. You need to get a corporate structure right with a holding company at the top, your special purpose vehicle set up for each acquisition as they happen, and you do it in such a way that compartmentalizes risk. So there is an interesting advantage that you might discover as you're buying businesses, that sometimes they own their own premises. So you can build up a business portfolio of cash flowing businesses, but over here you can build up a commercial property portfolio where right now you happen to be the tenant of that commercial property, but in the future you might sell the agency and someone else becomes the tenant. But you've now got long-term capital growth in your commercial property, and you've got your short-term cash flow in your businesses. So the smartest thing to do is to always separate the business and the property into separate companies. Never keep it in the same. Let me give you like worst case scenario of what happened if you kept it in the same. Got it all in the same place, and your business is sued, and the lawyer who's running this campaign against you sees in your balance sheet there's clearly some property in there, there's some fixed assets in there that must be property, and they figure that they can sue you for a hefty amount, because if they win, and they always go into it believing they will, then they would get the liquidated value of that property. You keep it separate. Trading company, trading business. Your real estate company, over here. So that's the number one way. Yes. Why are personal guarantees? They're bad news. Everyone's clear on what a personal guarantee is, right? What you're saying is, if the company doesn't pay, I'll pay personally. And the reason you sign a personal guarantee is because it's the only way to get what you want, right? You think, well, if I want the loan, I've got to sign the personal guarantee. And also, you justify it in your mind as the worst that could possibly happen. Oh, it will never happen in a month of Sundays. It won't happen. It doesn't matter. It won't happen. I'll be all right. One day it will happen. If you sign that personal guarantee, one day something will happen. Look, no one saw a pandemic, a worldwide pandemic. If you said to people 5 years ago, there's going to be this worldwide pandemic and you can't leave your house except for 2 hours a day, and there's going to be a toilet roll shortage, and it's just going to go crazy, not just here, but in the entire world. We go, come on, what are the chances of that happening? And it did. So, you never know what's around the corner. I was sued once by a woman who'd been on The Apprentice. I don't often tell this story. I'm not going to tell the whole story. It's a long story. I was sued by someone that I'd only ever met briefly once in a, hi, how are you? Hi, I'm Jonathan. Hi, yep, good. Next. That was my only interaction with this woman, and she sued me because my company did something that she perceived to be very similar to her company, okay? And she said that we'd copied what her company did, even though it was all public domain. There was nothing. It was a digital marketing business. I mean, how unique can Facebook advertising possibly be? But she sued me, and she hit me with a. My friend was in the office and she phoned me and she said, Jonathan, I've had a guy here and he would not leave until he delivered this package to you, and he absolutely said he could only give it to you. I didn't realize I was being served. If anyone's being served, it's a bit of an unnerving experience. And I get back to the office, open up this package, and there's all these court documents. There's an emergency injunction to close us down on Monday morning, and this is like Thursday. Between Thursday and Monday, I'd spent £20,000 getting my legal team to stop this injunction from happening. I then spent another £250,000 eventually winning and defeating, and all I got in costs, 30 grand. Now, I didn't see that coming either. So don't ever make business decisions based upon it will never happen. Okay? So don't sign the personal guarantees in the first place, because if the company can't pay, they'll come after you. If you don't have the cash, look, personal guarantee, 500 quid, you just get your bank card out and go, there you go, let's go to the cash vault, I'll give you the 500 quid. It's no big deal. Personal guarantee, 500,000, that could deplete your savings, right? Personal guarantee, £2 million, I might have to sell something. Okay? Personal guarantee, any figure, you might lose your family home. So don't do it. When I meet business buyers who come to me for help and advice, and they've bought a business already and they've signed personal guarantees, I say, you do know that was not the best way of doing it. I said, Jonathan, don't rub it in. I know. So, but we're never going to do it from this day forward, and we're going to make sure all those guarantees are paid off. Did you know, actually, there's no register of personal guarantees? There's no way. It's not like company charges. You can't go and look up who's got personal guarantees. So what could possibly happen is that you've got. Let's take some really simple round numbers. Let's say someone's got a net personal asset value of £100,000. They can go and sign £10 million worth of personal guarantees. And although those personal guarantees come calling, all they've got is £100,000. It means nothing really. And that person will end up bankrupt. So again, I don't want to escape, but you've got to do this properly. Personal guarantees are bad news. If a lender who's lending you money to buy a business said we need a personal guarantee, go and find another lender. Or do the deal differently. Or don't do the deal, do a different deal. Okay? Which is why it keeps coming back to the same thing. You've got the deal flow, you've got lots of options.